There's really only one question in Chiefs Kingdom. Does his foot work right? That's all that matters. There are a couple of things that go into it, but that's what we're talking about tonight. As you guys run the show around here, welcome to RGR Football. Welcome in, everybody. We appreciate you being here. Happy Monday anniversary, whatever it is, of yet another game when we don't have an answer to whether things are actually fixed or not. We're going to break it down for you. This is Dan Harbs, the guy in charge running this show tonight because, I'm just kind of a little bit out of the loop. It's okay. Thanks for being with us. You are actually contributing more to this show than I am right now because you guys are going to ask the questions. And we're going to lay out the answers as we see them right now tonight. Now, if you don't know Dan, I don't know why you're here if you don't know Dan, but Dan is over at the Draft Network, so you can ask draft questions. Let's not get too deep into it yet because we got a team to still talk about here. But he watches all the film. I've watched a lot of film, but not that much today, but seeing what I need to see. We're going to answer your questions, starting with your super chats. Whenever we get them, everyone will get an answer tonight. If you choose support us, we very much will support you, and we appreciate it. If you want to do that much more, you can get the gear over in the store. Each of us have something on, and I've been slow in getting some new products out, but we're going to try to do that here shortly before Christmas. So keep your eyes peeled. It all comes back to Mahomes, right? Now, I've watched this game on replay, and I've watched it kind of targeted, not live. So it definitely has a different feel for me than it does for most people. How did you feel watching it live?
Disjointed. That's the word that describes it. It's the word that's described the offense for a large portion of the last 2 months. A game here or there where you see some things that are nice, you see some things that they'll be able to do better, but overall the offense feels disjointed. And we have started this conversation about how Patrick Mahomes, the offense playing against two high safeties, that's what this is. Well, that's no longer an excuse. The Chiefs are seeing a ton of cover 3, ton of cover 1, single high, and they still can't get it done. So that tells you guys, should tell everyone that Patrick is struggling. He's himself struggling. Players, sure. Concept, sure. Overall, Patrick has not played like Patrick Mahomes this season. That's what this comes down to, in my opinion.
And it's perfect that you lead into that because I think in times past when he has been injured, particularly with ankles, which we know slows down his mobility, I think he's actually reacted by being better at making reads and making decisions and delivering the ball where it needs to be because he can't rely on his bailout athleticism. Yep. So I'm really anticipating that this turns things around because what I watched was, once again, you guys stop us if you've heard this before because we've been saying it since, the last Super Bowl. The quick game is the stuff that worked yesterday. They got the ball out. They delivered it. Was it always on target? No, it wasn't even that. There's still some accuracy things going on. Mm-hmm. But that was the best this offense looked in terms of rhythm, in terms of turning it loose. That's what I saw. Now, again, it was disjointed because I was watching them on replay on all 22 film, not in person. But did you see the same thing?
Yeah, a little bit. They still had some of those things working. And we talked a little bit last night on the live after about execution. Because those quick passes to Xavier Worthy on the outside, where one was an inaccurate pass, one was a drop, just those two plays happen, and you were talking about second and shorts. And do you think those drives probably extend? I think so. So execution takes into account some of that as well. So I think that they're doing a good job of getting those plays open for you. And I think that by extension, they're trying to run their offense through a pass to run. Specifically yesterday because they had 4 guards on the field. When you do that, you can't just line up on 1st and 10 and say, hey, Joe, we're going to run behind you. Oh, wait, no, that's right. We can't actually do that because it's 2 guards on the left-hand side. It doesn't work that way. So you have that to take into consideration as well. There's been 4 different players that have played left tackle for the Chiefs this year. 4. There's been 4. That's not ideal in any situation. No. Patrick, on top of it, not playing to his best doesn't alleviate that issue, okay? So there's a lot that has to go right in any game for an offense to look okay. And yesterday, it felt like the Chiefs did not think they could run the football, and by extension, were just trying to throw to pass.
I completely agree with you, and it's bass backwards, especially given what's been successful for you this year. Nice to see you, FLDB. Thanks, Thundarius. We're going to get to the super chats here coming up here pretty quick. Everyone, I know you guys are waiting on them. And so, Thundarius, I'm going to start with you. So I took the bet over the Texans game. I hope Mahomes can play and ball out. Not trying to wear Texas gear in my videos. I hope not, because it's not pretty. I don't like their uniforms, I have to tell you. Cheers to you, pal. And we will have another beer drinking session here coming up shortly. Maybe around the holidays. Maybe we could do that. That's a great topic. Maybe we can get Dan involved even. So I hope that you win that as well. And I'm going to tell you, I don't think it requires Mahomes to play. I'm just going to say that out loud now. Argue about it later.
Interesting. That's an interesting decision. It's so crazy.
Right? Evidently, something's going in my ear. So you want to take this one?
Oh, sure. Micah, what's going on, man? Nice to see you got in here first. And you asked your questions like usual. So appreciate you being here. Is there any way to read run blitzes before the snap so Pat audibles out of them? I saw a lot of run blitzes in the second half. Yes and no. Sometimes you'll get a tell. Cool, you can audible out. But if you watch like the Chiefs in their run blitzes, they wait until the very last second. And sometimes you'll see guys running in, running out. But also, guess what happens if you switch out and it's just a bluff? Oh, now you're throwing into a window. So sometimes you have to know for sure, based off of this film study, that defender is giving you a tell. You have to kind of rely on that a little bit here and there. So it's not a great answer for it, but yes and no at the same time, because sometimes you get a tell, sometimes you won't.
And some teams are better at disguising it. This is why Leo's mugging up a lot. That's why the Chiefs occupy those gaps, so you don't know exactly if they're coming or not, because it makes it harder to hit them on the next one. Mike's next one. Why are the 3 wide receiver flood concepts on one side of the field not working? Because they're not scary enough. They're just playing them over the top. They don't have to do anything. I did not specifically go watch for press snaps yesterday. Did you see much?
Not to my knowledge. Again, I'm rewatching the defense at this point. I haven't even begun to try to dig into the nightmare that was the offense at this point. But I think a lot of it also is they're running the same stuff. It's the same thing. And on film study, teams are like, okay, I know what that looks like. Let's go ahead. Let's just stop them. So
yeah,
as much as I think that something needs to change, we're going to talk about it. Ryan and I both apparently have the same idea, but we'll get there. I think some creativity also would need to be injected into the offense itself. A new voice might be helpful in the whole spectrum of not just this season, but going forward. So that's just something to take into account as well.
Can I get a new old voice? Does that count?
No, I'm not a no new old voices. I want brand new voices. I'm tired.
Jeremy. So am I the only one who sees Patrick's regression and Travis Kelce's age? I wouldn't call Patrick's actual regression. I do think that there's something wrong. And when he needs to go to it, he can't. He just does it. It's a choice more than a regression. A regression to me says, in my terminology, that you've lost the ability to do something. And I don't believe that about Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's more of, I think there might be more injury at play than we know personally. You know, this is now the 3rd year in a row he's sustained an ankle injury, and now he's got two different ankles. Maybe he's been hurt prior to this other one. We don't actually know, but I will say it's very obvious that he doesn't trust what's going on in front of him. He can say what he wants. They can say what they want. But when you have a revolving door at left tackle, when you have a right tackle who had maybe a month and a half where he was just awful, he was better yesterday, but Juwan Taylor's been pretty terrible for about a month and a half outside of the first 3 or 4 games where he played well. You can't trust anything. And they are simultaneously trying to bring the deep ball back while having bad tackles. That's a recipe for disaster. It just is. So you see Patrick forcing things that aren't there, like the throw to Justin Watson yesterday. There's no reason to throw that football. There's 2 guys right there, but he throws it anyway. That's just him saying, I'm going to do this no matter what. He's even talked about in press conferences how he's forcing things. He's trying to do it. And when you are the only cause of explosive plays, like they're not scheming up very much right now in terms of explosives because they can't do it. So Patrick feels like it's all on his shoulders to create an explosive offense when right now we got to start hitting singles and doubles before we're hitting triples and home runs.
Yeah. And it just feels like they're still just, in preseason mode. We're just not going to show you anything. And that's how it feels to me. But I do believe, Jeremy, that they can turn it on when they need to. Mayor James, nice to see you. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for the support as you always do. I did not see a comment yet, but I'm sure you have some in there, so we will rejoin you at that time when we
I
do
think there is one.
Okay, cool. Then we will bring that right back up. Jeremy, how long did it take for Patrick to trust DJ Humphries if that works out? Because I feel he will bail out if Prime Anthony Munzo was over there. Here's the thing. Andy said it in his post-game presser. If he had talked to the press today and it got out, I believe he would have said it again. But I have not seen his normal Monday presser hit the airwaves yet, so that tells me something. But they are relying. They made the decision to play Tooney based on one thing. They trust experience, even if you're overmatched. Joe Tooney got beat up. So much in his chest. So many hop sets he had to take because he just doesn't have the tools to fight the length of Myles Garrett. Yet he did an admirable job of compensating, right? That's veteran experience, and that's why he's in there, and that's why Andy's going to go with it. That's why Bailey Cupp was sitting on the bench, not playing, while Ferkser was back in, because he has experience. And I thought he did a pretty admirable job of contributing to this game without being, some kind of like pass-happy dude, right?
Blocks. Yeah.
Right? It all comes back to, and shout out, because I don't give him enough credit. I will say this, and you guys that have called me on this before, rejoice. Caliendo played better than I expected him to.
Yep.
Okay. Relying on experience helps everybody. It's still not a cure-all. So DJ Humphries comes back. He has the experience, and he has the length, and he's played that position. I don't think it'll take an extreme effort for Patrick to trust him.
I don't think so either. Just going to have to, he's going to trust himself. As soon as Humphries trusts his body, Patrick will trust that because that experience weighs a lot. And I'm telling you guys right now, you're not going to see Wanya Morris. You're not going to see Kingsley Suamataia the rest of the season. Because when you go, no, you won't, unless there's injuries. Like they will not play them because this was the time now. You had a DJ Humphries who got one start and he got hurt. Okay. Well, we're going to play Joe. There's no more going back at this point. You won't see them the rest of the season at left tackle unless you have an injury. So, knock on wood, this doesn't turn into a Detroit Lions situation because that's what you're hoping for. So hopefully DJ Humphries plays one of these next two games, hopefully. And if not, you're going to see Joe Tooney out there. And I will say the big difference between having Joe and Wanya Morris out there outside of the length issue was even though Joe does not have the athleticism to get back in his gait to be able to stop Myles Garrett, how many times did you see him get cleaned, just get his clock cleaned?
Right.
His body was in the way most of the time because he figures out how to keep it. So you want to get in my chest? Fine. You could be in my chest. I'm not moving, though. I'm not moving. So I'm going to stay here, Pat. You're not going to get hit as many times. You're not going to get sacked because I'm going to be in the way. But it still sped things up. He got hit a lot, 12 times versus 11. Chiefs had 5 sacks in that game. Actually, should have been 6 because one got called back because of a penalty. So when you have 12 quarterback hits versus an 11 and a team that got 5 sacks, it's still not great. Still not great. And Patrick is at fault for some of that too.
Yeah, you have to. It's all the way around, especially the last one, right? Stepping up, you have to have a little bit more urgency. You can't weave through the pocket there, especially when they're crushing you all the way around. You have to escape and get the hell out of there. And that's what I wish I saw a little bit more urgency from. I don't know what this ankle is going to be, folks. We will run it down for you through the week as we find out. But that's your answer, Jeremy. FLB, nice to see you. One of our moderators around here. Thanks, buddy. Based on the way Tooney played, how do you think it is that Andy sees this as a solution for the time being and rolls with it? I think they should keep pushing Humphries. And I will give you credit. You called this before the end of last week when I was saying they're probably going to put Wanya back in there. So I underestimated just how concerned they were. And I think they should keep pushing Humphries, but soft tissue on a 320-pound man is not something that heals very fast. So push him mentally, sure, but I don't know that they can rush him back out there. If Patrick Mahomes and DJ Humphries don't play together again until Denver, I can live with that.
They might not even play that game because that's
Maybe
the
not.
last game of the season. So, I mean, we're going to get to there's a lot of talk about this conversation topic that we are going to get to, and I promise you, Mayor James, we're not going to skip over it because that is part of it too. But you have to go with what works. They had a great game plan for Myles Garrett. They executed that part well. They really did, and he only had one pressure in the first half. So you take for that with what you got, and you say, well, hey, DJ, if you can't go until Christmas Day, don't go until Christmas Day. We'll figure it out. We'll put Joe back out there at left tackle, and Caliendo, outside of not being able to move anybody in the run game, you did your job. So you figure out what you can. Do what you got to do.
I'm with you. Jay, we're going to address your situation too. I think there's already some questions about it. Folks, if you want on the show, hit the super chat and we will address every super chat. We'll get most of the other topics because a lot of folks asked similar questions. So we are going to get to them all. Thank you, Frank. Appreciate you. To go, do you think the Chiefs can get back to an explosive offense this season, including playoffs? Also, do you think the DJ Humphries can hold up again for those explosive plays? A, I do think DJ can if he's healthy. And B, that's all going to come on the one guy that Patrick has been planning on throwing deep passes to all season and has not, one Marquise Hollywood Brown. If you want to see the deep game at this point, he is the key to it.
What happened earlier in Patrick Mahomes' career when teams were going single high? You want to know what they did? They took Tyreek Hill and they took McCole Hardman and they said, pick your poison. Hollywood Brown had a shoulder injury. He didn't lose his legs.
Nope.
He can run full speed. He's still a 4-3 athlete. Let's not forget, this is a 4-3 player. He's going to be activated, we assume, yes, by the release of Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who, prayers to you, my guy. I hope nothing but the best for you. As you guys know, I'm a very big advocate for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Everything that he did, that he went through, PTSD is no joke. So I hope nothing but the best for him, whatever that may be. But that signals, as Matt Derrick, our good friend, tweeted out earlier today, signals the arrival of Hollywood Brown. It is not a savior, okay? There is not one person outside of Rashee Rice, in my opinion, that saves this offense. Because I do believe that Rashee Rice's physicality after the catch, explosiveness in that short to mid-range area, elevates this offense to an area where it just can't get to right now. Unless you want to use DeAndre Hopkins in that role, which I'd be very happy to see. But what you can do is open more of the field. Xavier's doing a good job of opening the field, and they've added that to their element. But now without McCole Hardman, Justin Watson does not threaten anybody. For all the speed that he has, nobody is scared of him running down the field because he can't run a route off of it.
Right.
You want to know who can? Hollywood Brown.
And Watson, you can get back to with 3 seconds of protection. I can't remember the last time I saw him run 4 verts. So you tell me if maybe I'm missing it. They can with those 3 guys if they have protection. And that's what Patrick wants. That's his favorite play in this playbook. Whatever the variation is, whatever the formation, he wants to throw 4 verts, stress those safeties out, and put the ball in the air. That's what he's built for. So they get back to that, and you're going to see what you're looking for, buddy. Brand, we can't get it all together. How are we supposed to magically play great come playoffs? Seems like the offense can't flip the switch like they used to. I agree with that, but you also have to remember cold weather slows down teams. Everybody's scared of the Buffalo Bills now, right? Okay. They beat the Lions. Well done. Cheers. They beat us earlier. Cheers. Playing in January is different. Teams get tighter. Defenses play better. People raise their level of play. It's not so much having to flip that switch and be magical. It's actually gritting it out and just being to the point that you're efficient at putting your points on the board. What was it, 9 punts yesterday? That's the opposite of efficiency.
Mm-hmm. It's tough. That was probably their least efficient offensive performance of the season. They couldn't sustain a drive. They couldn't get a drive going for the large portion of this game. And outside of the turnovers, you thought they should have had 35 points. And that's why I was more irritated with the decision to not go for the 4th and 1, because you look at what the offense has done. This might be one of our only opportunities to put more points on the board, and they decided to kick a field goal and instead of maybe putting it up 21, because I'm telling you right now, they score a touchdown if they get that first down. I'm telling you right now, they do. But that's neither here nor there. So I just think that there's a switch that can be flipped. I think right now, mentally, there's a lot of pressure being applied to one Patrick Mahomes, who's continuing to take hits at a level he's never seen in his career. And also, it's starting to pile up mentally for him.
Yeah.
It's sometimes, excuse me, even the best can drown in having to be the best. I will say, Patrick Mahomes, in those moments this season when it's been like crunch time, got to have it in the key situations, he's been Patrick. He's been Patrick. You want to know why? Because he can flip it. He is the one of the only players I have ever seen in my entire life that can just say, okay, I have a legitimate flip, a switch to flip, and I can turn it on whenever I need to. He's the only one that can that I've seen.
Yeah. Coach, don't worry about it. I'll make something happen. I should put that on a damn t-shirt is what I should put.
You should. Exactly. That he literally told Andy Reid, don't worry about it. I got you on 3rd and 7. Like, that is the definition of trust in him. I know he's not having a great year, and a lot of it is his own doing as well. But there's something to be said about one player that can flip a legitimate switch. It's unreal.
It absolutely is. And for those of you that are fans of the books that I read, I know there's a few of you out there because I've made references before. There's a line from that series of books. It's called Trust the Awesomeness. And that's what you have to do. And that, I think I am about to steal and put on a t-shirt.
There we go.
Caroline, thank you. You all rock. I can't make it live, but keep up your awesome work. I will have tight end stuff for you soon. Thank you, Caroline. I know you have a lot of important work on your plate right now. She is working hard, getting some killer things done. We appreciate any time you have with us. I'm looking forward to the tight end stuff. Stay strong. Keep grinding. You're going to get there. Steve, with the Texans' stronger pass rush, will you see double tight ends having the tight ends helping the offensive tackles more in this game? Depends on DJ Humphries. But I will say this. I don't necessarily know that, like, Danielle Hunter's a little bit older. Will Anderson's very good. I don't know it's necessarily stronger than what you're going to see the following week against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
It's not. It's not as dauntless. I love Danielle Hunter. He's been fantastic this year. I love Will Anderson. The Steelers have like 3 or 4 guys that can just win as pass rushers. And I would venture to say the Browns, with just Myles Garrett and what they have, is a more fearsome pass rush right now than what you're going to see with Houston. Not trying to downgrade them at all, because they are still very good. You can't sleep on it. But I think the following week, like you said, is a far greater cry in terms of what you're going to have to be prepared for.
Yeah, let's hope that TJ's ankle doesn't really get better very quick. CJ, thank you. And thank you, Steve. We appreciate you, buddy.
Appreciate you,
as you know. Maybe I'm an island out here, but we could use a new play caller. Need fresh ideas. Most of our wins, I'm like Spags in his bag or Mahomes magic. It's been less and less for Reed for me. I can understand where you're coming from. But much like Mahomes, I do think Andy is like, when it comes to the playoffs, when it comes to beating teams that are hard to beat, I think he'll have it in there. I think this is all too much smoke and mirrors. And when they decide to like actually pull the cover off of that like shiny new vet, like it's going to run.
I'm with you. I got to see it a little bit more for myself. I need to see the execution take up, because we have not seen the execution be consistent enough for me to say everyone around Patrick will be able to click it on. Because if he does it and no one else does, I mean, well, how are you going to really get through that? All right, like it doesn't work for the same for everybody. So I need to see a little bit more before I'm ready to just say, yeah, they'll be fine.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Isaac, in my opinion, Mahomes is going to play too much on the line, and he's clearly ready to get back out there. Yes, sir. What are some things Andy can do to help him? Well,
all right.
It's not just the left tackle is the problem, but we have a concept that I think we will both agree on. And I'm going to let Dan lay it out because
I was about to say, because we're just going to go ahead and get into it. It's about halfway through the show now. There's been lots of talk about it. So we're going to go ahead and bring it up, Isaac, because I think the one thing that they can do to help Patrick out is give him a mental break. Give him a little bit of a mental break. So we've got lots of different questions. Micah had his questions here. If Wentz starts, should Reed take advantage and call QB sneaks and design quarterback runs if they don't practice them? So there's that one. We've got Mayor James and his comment here about prediction. Wentz plays and they run the ball to keep him out of trouble. Chiefs beat the Texans, and then we are only need one win in the next two to clinch home field. Not going to cry if it's ugly. Appreciate the super chat, Mayor James, as always, and thank you for your kind support as we always see around here. So this is what we're going to talk about. This is how you can protect Patrick and give him an answer. 2 games in 5 days start Saturday. Do you think that anybody should play that has a high ankle sprain should play both of those football games? Because I sure don't. My opinion is I believe that Carson Wentz is better at being a quarterback than the 2 quarterbacks we've seen play in Patrick Mahomes' stead over the past 5 years, and Matt Moore and Chad Henne. In terms of talent, obviously, clearly, maintaining, protecting the football, maybe not so much. Chad Henne was not going to throw interceptions. He was going to just do what was asked of him, hand the ball off, say, hey, go ahead and take this 50 yards. I'll do whatever I have to do. Carson Wentz is probably going to be a little bit of Jameis Winston at times. But the guardrails that Andy Reid can put around him will be very different, in my opinion. And I tweeted this out yesterday. I believe starting Carson Wentz and letting your offense figure some things out is the best course of action. That is not a derogatory statement to Patrick Mahomes or anything. But what happens when you have to bring in a backup quarterback? You have to streamline things. What happened last year after they lost to the Raiders? They had to streamline their offense. And what do you know? Things started to work. So this could be a reset. Patrick Mahomes takes a reset week, get his mind right. Andy Reid, offense, we have to rethink our process. And maybe if these things start working, we can just implement this in the offense when Patrick comes back. Because what can Carson Wentz do that Patrick can't do? Nothing.
Right. And nothing against Carson in that statement either. You know that you have a trump card over the top of it. And that's the way that it goes. I completely agree with you. They could be the thing that resets them for the season within their own minds. And that may be the biggest obstacle. Thank you, Mayor James. And thank you guys for all the comments on it. We are in complete agreement there. I would even, depending on the way the rest of the league goes, I would play Steelers by ear for Patrick if it were me.
I'm with you.
It is what it is. Isaac, do you see us take an approach similar to last year? Simple offense. Seems like they were really almost testing things yesterday. They weren't scared. That's the bottom line. No, wasn't scared. We told you in the game plan. Watch out for James giving the ball away. And once that started, and he was like, we can do whatever we want. We can just play games here because we are no serious threat. And that's what it comes down to. Kudos to the defense. My guy, Brian Cook, making up for some bad play earlier. At least he was in good position, right? I do believe what you saw there in that particular play is what he should be doing most of the time. Leaving him single high, I think, is asking him to do too much. As we said, with Shamar Connor now hurt as well, all the Chiefs have are box safeties. Let's not put them in single high. Let's play our shells. Let's do what we do. And I don't know how far you've gotten through the defense. I saw some shell games moving around, a little bit of disguise and discrepancy, and I think that really helps.
It helps you that multiple times they went from showing too high to playing too high, but different. And that is the beginning.
Yep.
It's the beginning of seeing things. There was the Charles Omenihu sack, the strip sack, was a simulated pressure where they drop both defensive tackles off. They take CRW, blitz him off the edge, and Charles just wins his one-on-one. They are starting to get creative. Multiple times you blitzed Justin Reed, you blitz Jaden Hicks, you blitz Trent McDuffie. He's starting to get more creative. Yesterday, the defense was feeling themselves. Trent McDuffie finally caught his very first interception, and I'm not sure if you saw him talk about how he saw it. He looked at the Jumbotron. How are you looking at the Jumbotron during the NFL game that you're playing and you're covering someone at the same time in the end zone? And you realize in that half second, that's where I am. I'm going to turn around and get this interception real quick. That is unbelievable. And I can't imagine being that quick and that smart to be able to do something like that. That is completely different. So I think that this game sets the confidence level for the defense. And now that might get them going because they've played better. The offense hasn't helped them out a ton with 19 points the previous 2 weeks. They've only allowed 17 points. Like, it's not like they've been just giving up tons of points.
Yeah.
They've been kind of key points, right? So I think this is going to help them get back on their horse, and they desperately needed a turnover game like this. They desperately needed it.
Now they proved to themselves they can do it.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Jordan, hope all is well. And back at you, buddy. What's the deal with the deep ball this year? Chemistry, no time and no tackle. Do we dare say it's the yips? I won't say yips, only because that seems too much like what do you call it? Bad juju or whatever you want to call it. Luck. They're not playing well. They're screwing themselves. This is not luck. This isn't bad bounces of the ball. They're just not getting it done. And we've been dealing with it all year. So I'm with you. I'm with everything you said except for the yips part.
And I'm telling you right now, I think that a mental reset week could legitimately do wonders. Not just for the deep ball, but for some of the accuracy stuff. And I know that we're talking about someone resting. No quarterback just takes a week off, right? Well, I mean, if you have a high ankle sprain and it's not a playoff game, maybe you can take a week off. Maybe you could just kind of rest. And that, again, playing as many games as they have in the past couple of years does add up. And I'm telling you that Travis doesn't look the same. Travis looks tired. He's also having miscommunications with Patrick on a weekly basis. This is a weekly thing now. So there's mentally stuff going on within the offense that they are having trouble figuring out. And it's going to take a week where they get on the right page and then it'll click. But we got to see that first.
Yeah, we do. Thank you, Jordan. I think it all, again, is funneling to the playoff situation. That's all they care about. That extra week that they're playing for right now is that bye week to get that week of rest.
Yeah.
Patrick, it's another one ahead of time. That's probably a good thing. Just want to hear your thoughts on GK's performance. Thought he had some great get off. Yeah, he was quicker than he's been all season, according to Next Gen Stats. What was it, 0.56 that he's getting off the ball? That's super quick. I mean, that's Hutchinson quick. So that tells you something that he still got it in there, or at least against that tackle combination, he had it in there. But why don't I see it every day?
I wonder if it's the cadence. I wonder if he just kind of knew something about of Winston's cadence. Maybe he's a bit slower, or maybe he sets it up right before he says it that it was easy for him to get off. All I know is that not only was he quicker, he wasn't winning quickly. He still really wasn't for the most part. He was getting cleanup sacks, which is what he does, but he was doing it in a different way where he was closing space. Even though there was another time I just watched where he didn't get the sack. He got a quarterback hit and obviously a throwaway, but he closed on Winston faster than I think I've ever seen him move. I think that he's starting to just get more confident. He's been playing better over the last 2 weeks anyway. Him and Drew Tranquil both in the last, I would say, 3 weeks have upped their game dramatically. And that's what you need from this defense. They need both of those players to have big impacts to be able to play with these teams in January.
Yeah. And raising your game is what it's all about. This is the ramp up period. We are now mid-December, folks. Mid-December. You can see the end from here, the regular season. They got to get after it. Thank you, PM. Appreciate you. And Craig, thank you. Love the show. Thanks for all you do. Absolutely. Thank you. How did Caliendo do specifically? And I know we got this question before, so we're coming back to it. Yeah, Tooney is a man. He brings his work, his lunchbox. He certainly does. And he's reliable. And this is the guy that we were talking about. Hey, he blew his pack. Is he going to play this season? Hey, he's not in camp yet. Like, we were concerned. And to see him come full circle and be taking these reps is really impressive. But as you said, Caliendo not great in the run game. I didn't watch the run snaps yet, but I thought I was admirably surprised at his foot quickness and his ability to see, especially the feinted stunts, and come back out and help Joe on Garrett in particular.
Yeah, they really tried to test that movement, and the Chiefs haven't been very good against some stunts this season, but that was something you wanted to see, and it might give them more confidence to say if DJ is not 100% ready to go this week, that communication between Joe and Mike can pay off for another week. You probably want to have DJ against the Steelers. I'll say that.
Yeah, TJ's a different animal. Thanks, Craig. Appreciate you. Tracy, nice to see you. Thank you as always, one of
Thank
our
you, Tracy.
longtime members. Honest opinion, do you feel we can still beat the Bills? Their schedule's easy for the last games. I so appreciate both of you. Happy holidays. Happy holidays to you as
Happy
well.
holidays to you as well.
And schedules are interesting. This last week, I think, told you they're feeling themselves. But I'm just going to put it this way. Not only can the Chiefs still beat them, I think the Bills are peaking too early.
I was thinking the same thing yesterday. You got back-to-back games and you got 40 burgers. You try and tell me that this team in December is playing their best football, and they absolutely are. But is it too early? I think right now, this Chiefs team does not beat the Bills right now. If they played right now, they would lose again. But we know that Steve Spagnuolo is the single best game planning defensive coach in the NFL. The best. Yep. He's got to bring it for one game. He's going to bring it for one game, and you're not going to know what hits you. So there is that element. It's going to bring the offense down a smidge. The offense has to play better. If they want to compete with Josh Allen in the postseason right now, the way he is playing, they have to get up off the mat, because right now they're kind of on the mat. So I would say right now, in my honest opinion, no. Right now they do not compare. But the postseason is going to be a different animal. And I think the defense will be much better than it was in the first matchup. And I'm still waiting to see the offense, but we all know that it just takes one time and things start to turn around. So I'm still very optimistic. In the postseason, after the Chiefs lose to the Bills in the regular season, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. They win those postseason games.
There's nothing left in the tank for them. They don't have that next year. They never have. Okay. So here's the other thing that I want to point out about this. We were having very similar conversations about this team last year.
Yeah, we were.
And what did it take to turn it around? Folks, if you haven't been following your advent calendars, we are now 9 sleeps away from Christmas.
Oh,
and that's where it turned around last year. So I ain't worried. There's still plenty of time to flip that switch, to pull it along, to figure your shit out and get after it. So I'm not too scared. Sorry for the kids that are watching. Sometimes I slip, folks. I don't use my show voice all the time. But Tracy, thank you for the question. Nice to see you. Swag boy, appreciate you too, buddy. Kelsey seems frustrated with Mahomes, and Kelsey's body language shows it. I hate seeing that. That's a fair estimation. I don't know that it's with necessarily Patrick or the fact that they're just not on the same page.
Patrick and Travis aren't on the same page, but Travis isn't scoring. Imagine being 35-ish years old and you've scored pretty much consistently for the last decade, almost the last decade. It's a tough season for him. He's frustrated probably more with himself than anything. So he's visibly showing frustration. He wants to be better for this offense that has relied on him for the better part of a decade. And he's probably not feeling he's playing his best football either. So I understand that for sure. We all go through those times where we don't feel like we're being our best selves. And it's very possible that his age and body is starting to catch up with him, and he's trying to fight it. And sometimes, we all say, Father Time waits for nobody. He's going to come get you when he comes and gets you. And it might be happening for Travis. It might be.
Thanks, Swag. Appreciate you. Thank you, Adam. Good to see you, pal. Do you think Uche will have a regular rotation in the lineup? Also, what do you think about Hicks' game finally getting some more snaps? Absolutely. I don't know what they're doing with Uche to spend the draft capital. It hurt me. It hurt me to watch Cam Thomas rush and actually get a little bit of pressure for the other team the other day. But Uche is not in their plans at this point. He's an in case stuff goes wrong guy, as far as I can tell. Do you see anything different?
Because they didn't release him today. They could have released him over Clyde Edwards-Helaire. It's like, but he's inactive every week. So I don't know. Makes no sense to me at this point. And again, we talked about this, that I wanted them to trade for a speed rusher because I think speed is what they need. And they said, it felt like Brett Veach made the move and Spags is like, fine, I just won't play him.
Yeah, right. Hey, that's cute.
That's what it feels like.
We don't do that here. That's exactly what it feels like. I'm sorry. I wish we had more insight for you. But as far as Hicks goes, like what I'm seeing, again, don't want to see him put in a single high position. Not what he does. If anyone's going to play single, it's got to be Justin Reed at this point for me. I know that Nazi's played safety. He might have a little experience there. I don't know that I'm comfortable making that switch at this point in the season. I do say that I want to see more CRW on the field. Making plays in special teams is one thing, but contributing in defense, that's what I'm looking for next for him. And I think he and Hicks are kind of on the same thing. You got to take snaps away from someone to get them more snaps. I think taking some from Cooks has actually helped him. I think I'm the last remaining Cook fan in this fan base, but that's okay. I think he'll turn it around when he gets to do what he's asked to do.
Yeah, it just depends. But at the end of the day, like if the Chiefs say they draft a single high safety or they bring one in and Justin Reed's not there anymore, you still have Chamari Connor, you have Jaden Reed now. Are you going to just rotate in Brian Cook, Jaden Reed, and Connor all the time? It feels like too many cooks in the kitchen that do the exact same thing. But I think Jaden Hicks's ceiling is far better than either of those two players. So I don't know. It's an interesting dynamic they're going to have. We know that they want to have interchangeable safeties to do what they want. Brian Cook's being on this team. I'm not sure he's going to get re-signed when the time comes up because you can just throw Jaden Hicks or Chamari Connor in that situation and say you can probably do the exact same thing, and then you have some slot flexibility as well. So they're going to be drafting corners, drafting DBs anyway, so we'll see how that ends up going. But appreciate you, Adam. I just also wanted to throw this up here for Doug because he did ask about how his guy's been doing, and obviously one of our members asked a question. I want to make sure we get it up on the screen for you, Doug. But he's playing well. The interception was more on, I believe it was Reed underneath who tipped the ball just slightly over and help from the quarterback throwing it just over their head. But being in the right place at the right time, that tackle he had on Elijah Moore in space, boy, that was probably his best play of the game out, even with the interception withstanding. So he's going to get beat at times. He's a rookie. That happens. He's playing very well.
And here's the nice thing. Especially when we get cold in the next month, his legs are pretty damn fresh.
Yeah.
So that's going to help immensely. Jay, Hall of Fame coaches, QB, tight end, wide receiver, DT, one of the best interior offensive lines of teams 13-1. Why am I still frustrated when I watch them play? Because they're not dominant. They don't go out there and smash teams they should smash. Believe me, we have the same reaction to things. They're not the 85 Bears. They're not like Tom Brady's best teams. They're not the greatest show on turf where you just smash teams that were worse than you and you didn't let up and you didn't give them a chance to breathe and you stood on their neck and laughed. Andy's not like that. And that's why, Jay, because I have that same argument about every week.
It's frustrating to watch one of the best interior offensive lines in the NFL get kind of over talked about by bad tackle play every single week. And when they can't do anything down the field either. Like it makes an offense that needs to thrive on efficiency. And when you can't thrive on efficiency, it's just frustrating to watch. It's frustrating. Yeah. And everyone there, how much do you guys want to bet they're just as frustrating watching the film back as everyone else is? Like they have to try to correct these things. We just get to talk about it. Like we just say, hey, they're doing this wrong, they're doing that wrong, and they have to go out there and then correct it, right? Like it's not easy.
No, it is a job for a reason. Well, Chiefs have broken Patrick Mahomes by not signing a vet left tackle early in the season. He's sped up and uncomfortable, and even in rare occasions when in the pocket is actually clean. Okay, rant over. I understand how you feel. And I will just tell you this. After everything that we've learned and the fact that no one else has signed Donovan Smith and the Chiefs haven't signed Donovan Smith, he's not capable of playing at the level that you saw. I know he played through a stinger and a back issue and a number of things that were bothering him last year. They clearly were not willing to make that reinvestment again for fear of not being able to make a second acquisition later like they'd had to do with DJ. So I think that's the reason why, but you're absolutely right. They did put him in this position.
Yeah. And we asked, we pleaded, we wanted them to bring somebody in, and they said no.
Yeah. Well, you're right. I hope that helps. Going to first Chiefs game ever.
Nice.
Over Christmas, 7 rows off the field, club seats from your guitar student. Very nice, John. I hope you have a blast. I will tell you this. Go early. Walk around. Maybe bring some beers with you. Offer people stuff. Trade for some barbecue. It might be the best smelling place on the planet on game day. So take it all in. From Central PA and the Chiefs fans since December of 90. Well done. Longer than me even. Do you think PM 15 starts? My gut tells me right now, no.
My gut says Christmas Day, yes, he's going to play.
Okay. All right. Dan's probably going to be right because my gut is often wrong. Joe and John, have a blast. Joe, Chiefs need to draft a running back high to replace Pacheco, whom has poor vision and Kareem's age. I'm not with you, buddy. Unless high means 7th round.
So I'm going to be more with you, Joe. They do need to draft a running back. It's very, very obvious to me. It's clear. And when you have Isaiah Pacheco, who has done nothing for you but play great football as a 7th round pick, but also got hurt every single year he's played. And you had to bring Kareem Hunt off the street. And you tried to put your rookie Carson Steele, who gave you some good, gave you a good game here and there. And there's nothing else there. They have to draft starting in the 4th round. You might even see them take one of their 3rd round picks and draft a running back. This is a extremely deep, talented, and top heavy running back class. This would be the year to draft a running back on day 2 with one of your 3rd round picks. This would be the year to do it.
Okay. We'll see if Brett agrees with you. I'm thinking he might. He drafted Clyde after all, so I just wouldn't do it. Thanks, Joe. Swag. Andy, run the ball. It's getting ridiculous. He just needs to be held accountable for getting Pat hurt. I mean, there's only one guy that holds Andy Reid accountable. His name's Clark Hunt, and he ain't going to do it. I'm going to tell you.
Say, does he actually hold him accountable, or does he just let Andy do what he wants?
That's pretty much it. Andy is like his favorite nephew. Nothing's coming Andy's way but love. I'm sorry, Swag, but hey. What's up with Ethan Driscoll? Thank you, Rick.
Appreciate your brother Rick.
What is up with Ethan Driscoll? He's on the 53 for a reason. Could he be any worse than Wanya or Kingsley? Also, where's the play action pass? They tried the play action pass. They got themselves in a little bit of trouble 2 weeks ago. So I think maybe they limited that a little bit more. But yes, Ethan can definitely be worse than Wanya or Kingsley. He is not the athlete either of those guys are, in my opinion, from what I've seen. And he's raw. I mean, we haven't seen him in, I don't know. Did he play snaps in week 5, was it?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, it's been a while. So maybe he's made drastic improvement, and maybe that's, again, part of the youth movement on this offensive line is because now you have what could be not only a future swing tackle, but somebody else that you think you can develop even further. We just don't know really at this point, unless you have a better feel than I do.
Not really. They're high on him. The reason he's on the 53 is because they don't want him to be poached by somebody else. They are hoping that you can develop him somewhere. Again, there's going to be a right tackle spot available at some point in the next couple of seasons. If you can get someone from Wanya Morris, Kingsley, or Ethan Driscoll to be a starter, you do what you got to do.
Yep.
You bring them in, you get them time in service, you develop them, you do what you got to do. And they have 3 guys that are young, athletic, and have the traits to become starting tackles in the league. I think that ship has sailed for one Wanya Morris, though. I don't believe he's going to be a tackle in the league. Maybe right, but at this time, I think he's going to be a guard, if anything. So you just try and develop.
And everybody freaked out last week when Andy said, "Oh, Kingsley's gotten some snaps at guard." Great. I don't think he's the guy that's going to be moving inside.
Andy Heck said that they play their offensive linemen everywhere. Everyone plays everywhere. They literally get them snaps everywhere. Like, okay, cool. If you don't want Kingsley to go out there right now as a tackle and you need him to play guard, are you going to argue with that? I'm not going to argue with it.
Nope, not at all. But I think what we're seeing here is also the 3 of them in Wanya, Kingsley, and Ethan are the answer to the aging, expensive guys inside. You got 2 of them paid already. I think they're strongly considering trying to get Trey under contract. It's a lot of money on the interior. You have to go young outside or you don't have a chance with the rest of your cap space. So it is a necessity, not a want. And I think that changes some of the math. Thanks, Rick. Good to see you. God Soda. I never heard that one shorter. Okay, good. Cut Travis. Cut Tooney. That frees up $36 million. Sign Higgins for $27. You want to take 2 All-Pros and sign 1 tall receiver. Okay, and the Slim Reaper deal, trade away pick 1 and pick 2, and the next year 1. For who? The B-Stack? The best.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know.
Best tackle, maybe?
Best tackle, okay. Probably? Yeah, maybe. I don't know, man. I'm out on T. Higgins at $27 million. I got to tell you.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good on that. He's not a versatile receiver. They've thrown the deep ball one-on-one situations to DeAndre Hopkins because his name is DeAndre Hopkins, not because of any other reason outside of he's one of the greatest one-on-one receivers in the NFL, in the history of the NFL. Other than that, they pretty much refuse to. So I am not a T. Higgins truther, and that's a lot of money to pay someone who's going to be your number 3 receiver, most likely.
Truther. Yeah.
You have to remember that
Rashee
Rice is coming.
They could get Hollywood and D-Hop back.
At this point, I don't think if you're bringing in T. Higgins, you're not bringing those guys back. That's not happening. But you have Rashee Rice. You drafted Xavier Worthy, who, again, maybe not a true number 2 receiver right now, but what they're doing with him shows that they believe that he can be that guy. He's running real routes. He's not just doing the deep stuff. He's doing everything right now. He's doing really good on timing outside routes. And honestly, the Patrick Mahomes missing him on the route that he flattened out, that made me so mad. It made me physically mad because Patrick has been doing this all year long, and we give him a pass where he throws it upfield. Upfield is the safety. Upfield is the safety. And Xavier's like, yeah, I'm not going to go drifting upfield. I'm just going to cut this down and be friendly to my quarterback. And Patrick throws it over his head. So for me, I don't think you're going to just be cutting Travis Kelce. I mean, maybe he retires. That's one thing that'll be different. And Joe, if you can get another year out of Joe, who's playing really good football for a guy coming off of a torn pec, let's be honest about that.
Right?
I'm not a T. Higgins guy, so that's just me. Maybe that's my own thing.
I don't mind him, just not for wide receiver 1 money. He's T. Higgins because he plays with Jamar Chase. Let's be real. That's how that works. Everybody needs a Robin to their Batman. It doesn't make it Batman when it's all over. So, God, so not to give you too much trouble. Thank you for the support, but just don't see that. I mean,
Very
maybe
much.
if you're a Higgins guy, you want to squeeze him in. But I mean, I want all the weapons, and I want all the vets back, and I want everybody to be happy, and let's go down the merry road and actually crush people. Lonnie, is it true that the O-line was overheard saying Mahomes holds the ball too long? Oh, I've heard him say it before. I don't know about this week, but
I'm sure he does. I mean, let's be honest.
That's the truth.
A lot of great quarterbacks hold the ball too long. Offensive linemen are if you're last season, Patrick, his time to throw was the highest it's ever been. But this year he's doing better getting the ball out. But let's be honest. Do offensive line want to block for 7 seconds? Do they want to block for anything longer than 3, than 2.5? No, because they're big. They're big guys. They're getting beat up all the time. And yeah, I'm sure Patrick holds the ball too long. I'm sure he does.
Tired, just like I am. Terrell, thank you, buddy. What's up, fellas? Love the content. Thanks for being here, dude. Appreciate you,
Terrell.
Can this defense play at the level they played at yesterday for the remainder of the season and into the playoffs? Dan says yes.
That's a good question. And I think that the answer is yes. And the reason I think that is because of the confidence that they're going to be feeling after this game. Now, they're going to get tired the next couple of weeks. But like Ryan mentioned, you've got some restful bodies. And getting Charles Omenihu back at this point was so big for their defensive line.
Enormous.
He can play inside. Give Tershawn Wharton, who looked exhausted, rest. I will say, Come here. What are you doing playing Chris Jones 94% of the snaps yesterday? what was that about? What was that about?
Yo, Spags.
I'm a little confused by that one, Spags. I'm a little confused there. But I will say, you get Mike Dana, who can play inside a little bit. George Karlaftis is playing a lot of snaps too. But you can rotate those guys in. Your linebackers, you can rotate in. We saw Leo Chanel playing some of those snaps on defensive end as well. You can rotate lots of different players. So yeah,
I'm just marking that one.
That one wasn't in private chat. That one was in the real chat.
Oh, well, hey, everybody knows what I just did. It's fine. Oh, WTF, Spags.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how I feel about that.
Okay. I like it. Terrell, I'm going to call Dan's bet and I'm going to raise it because I think they can play better than they played yesterday. And I think they can push to almost play better than they played last year, despite the absence of L'Jarius Sneed, because of that fresh defensive front. If you can rest them, that 1 week bye could make all the difference in the world. So, yeah, I'm pushing the chips in, man. I'm pushing the chips in.
I like it.
Des, thanks, buddy. Good to see you. Thanks
Des.
for everything you always do for us. Very much appreciate it. Why do you think they cannot reset without Mahomes playing? Am I reading that right? It seems like a lot of people are underestimating Houston. That's fair. Houston is not playing like they played last year offensively, but Will Anderson is. So maybe I'm part of the problem.
I'm not underestimating Houston by any stretch. I just believe from what I've seen with my eyes over the last few years that the team typically plays pretty good when a backup quarterback is out there. I remember the Matt Moore led Chiefs. Those were games where they could have won both games because of how he played. And Chad Henne has been on, his played very good football for them. And I just think that when you have the infrastructure around a backup quarterback and you can limit what he's being asked to do, and the defense playing with the confidence level that they have against an offensive line who is, let's be honest, played really bad this year. They've been awful this year. I take my chances with double teaming Nico Collins and just saying, I like Tank Dell a lot, but do you have time to throw the ball downfield? Because I'm going to blitz you till you can't hurt, just so you can't feel it anymore. Like, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm more comfortable with resting Patrick Mahomes. Again, I don't make decisions. I'm comfortable resting him on a high ankle sprain for one game when you play 2 games in 5 days. And saying, if you're good for Christmas Day against the Steelers, I'd rather have you for that game. That's my opinion.
Okay, fair enough. I couldn't argue with you. I mean, some people would say that it might be better to play him early and let him rest against the Steelers because you fear that pass rush, which might be legitimate, but that's also about what the Bills are doing and what the competition is doing to take that first round bye from you. So it does all play into the math. Jonathan, now that we have a banged up secondary, do we see Nelson rotate in a little bit this weekend against Houston? Possibly. He did play there. I'm guessing he wants to play. Didn't he? Yeah, he did play there, right? Last year. Yeah. I know he wants to play against the Steelers. So maybe you don't rush it. I don't know. But yeah, you could see him a little bit.
He's going to play on Christmas Day, I think. Just a little bit. But he doesn't have any ill will against the Texans. He played really good football for the Texans and decided to retire. So he's probably not pushing to play for this game. He's pushing to play against the Steelers. Yeah, I think that he'll play a little bit in that game.
I am pretty damn sure. Minotaur, thank you again. For those of you who just got a membership, you can thank Minotaur because he's giving them away. Thank you, buddy. Always appreciate you growing Rogue Nation for us. Rogue Nation is also our Discord. You members get access to that when you get to the rookie level or above. He just gave you a freebie to your draft pick. You can upgrade yourself and get in there. I didn't get to see the game live this week with some family stuff going on, so you won't have game notes from me this week. But you get them every week. You get our rants. You get a lot of the extras that we try to throw out there for you, so that make sure you get extra content. You can get that at the rookie level or above as well. So thanks for getting them on the road, Minotaur. We appreciate you. Tip. Had they not given up on Kingsley too early after playing an elite DE and forcing him to learn through playing, would he be a better left tackle right now? Ruined his mental and wasted development opportunity. I feel like you watch this channel a little bit, buddy.
Maybe a little bit. Tipsicle there.
Because we're with you. Bit. I mean, I don't mean to speak for you, but I certainly am.
You guys know how I feel. I've actually said it I think I've said it every single week. that we've had this situation because left tackle has been a problem every single week. There's no way to know. My lean, considering the left tackle play around the league, is, and specifically young left tackle play, is you're going to have ups and downs. But I would much rather like to see them learning in those situations than saying, "Oh, you messed up, sit down." Like
Right.
that just doesn't sit right with me, especially because we have ample evidence that Andy Reid typically doesn't do that. He typically says, "Okay," but I think the weight of a three-peat season has put a little more pressure on everybody.
I think you're absolutely right.
They won't admit it.
Pressure makes diamonds. Let's go with it. Okay, it's gonna be all right.
Yeah.
Too quick. Thank you. Welcome to the memberships. Thank you for all you do.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate seeing you. And then you turned around.
Oh man,
forward. Well done.
I love seeing it. Loving it.
Yeah, I do too. Grow Rogue Nation, you guys. It's a fun place to be. And the Discord Rogue Nation is only for RGR members. So we've kept it clean this long, thanks to FLDB and a bunch of others. So jump in there. Aaron, welcome as well. Doug, kind of a weird question, but some players you both have been impressed on special teams with this season. Okay. So special teams, the last thing that I watch most days. Talk to me, Goose.
I mean, I'm not going to go real obvious here because I could just say Matt Ariza, outside of last maybe a couple of weeks, has been really good. He's been a really good punter. But I'm going to say CRW first off, made multiple special teams plays, just capping it off yesterday with a fumble. Like that's a huge play. He's been a key, tackler, being in the right spot all the time. And honestly, like both Josh Williams and Najee Johnson have been very good, like gunners on punt team, getting a couple of those punts downed inside the 5-yard line. Both of them have done a very good job. And I will say there's a couple of clips that I'm going to show you guys on Wednesday of Najee Johnson and Joshua Williams playing better in coverage. But I'm just like, those are a couple of guys that come to mind.
I like it. I agree with you on all of those guys. And I will give a shout out. We forget because he makes big plays on defense. Leo Chanel plays the snot out of special teams still. He's still making plays there. And if you didn't catch it pre-game yesterday, guy kind of stunk up. My guy Cam Jones was a captain yesterday for the special teams. He's been coming on as well. So athleticism does pay off. And I saw a question, I can't remember who it was, about getting Willie Gay back. I have no concept of how happy he is in New Orleans. All but one of my buddies in New Orleans is left town, so I don't have the pulse like I used to. But I'd welcome Willie back. I'll take that juice all day and twice on Sundays.
Sure, whatever. I'm at this point, I'm down to just get linebackers in the room that can help you somewhere a little bit here and there. And Willie would probably be very apt to come back after his experiences in New Orleans, I would think.
Can he bring Colin with him, please?
That's all. Honestly, yeah, you would solve some defensive tackle issues that you might have in the future.
Yeah, I would love it. We're going to end with too quick tonight. No, we're not, because Eric just did something. When you are the architect, along with Patrick Mahomes, with winning 3 Super Bowls and jump your brand recognition, the franchise worth 50%, Andy can wiggle all he wants as far as Clark Hunt is concerned. Yes. I mean, Clark is also a guy that is the leader of the expansion committee within the NFL, right? He is looking to grow this to a global brand even more than it is so, right? So all the overseas stuff, when they start, and I do believe sometime in the next decade, they will have another NFL Europe, either a division of the actual league or another sub-league. They will do it again because that's the only way for them to grow. I do think a lot of it is going to be based on the success that this Chiefs franchise has had. Look at Mexico City. There's still murals up from the last time the Chiefs were there. There's still a lot around the world that draws attention to this team and then furthers the shield. And that's all they care about.
Yep. That's all they care about.
Eric, running balance seemed like it helped yesterday, Daniel. Did you agree?
What balance? No offense there, Eric. There wasn't much balance there. I think it would have helped a little bit, but I was on the Bleacher Report app earlier today with Sterling Holmes, and he made a good point about having 2 guards on the left side. Do you think you could run the ball effectively there? I'm going to throw it to you guys. Because anytime that they ran it to the left, or really to the middle left area, they got nothing. Their successful runs were to the right side. So if you're an offense and you just run it to the right every single time, do you think the defense would figure out, hey, oh, they're running it that way, just go crash down there because they can't defend the left-hand side? It gets kind of predictable. So that's why today I talked about how I think they were trying to throw to run. Give me some more draws. Where did my draws go? You had a couple of them.
Right.
You could have done that. And that's
I
how
get
you
a
also
counter
throw to run.
or a counter pitch.
Throw
Can I
a-
get that?
Get something. Just I think that the throwing to run is fine, but they didn't execute very well. It would have looked different if they executed well, but that's been the story of the Chiefs offense this year. They have not executed what they're trying to do. And I think that is far more the culprit than the play calling was yesterday.
Fair enough. And it was what? 1, 2. It's like 27 called runs versus 38 dropbacks. Balance wise, that's not terrible for an Andy Reid offense. And it was 13 and 13 for Pacheco and Hunt.
In the first half, it was far different. The first half was more balanced. Second half was not.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that's what I get for watching it on replay. So thank you, though, Eric. We appreciate the question and appreciate you being here. Thanks for the support. Aaron, thank you as well.
Thank you,
we
Aaron.
will end on Aaron here now that we're there. Sorry, I'm late, but I'm not sure if you touched on it. But if Andy Reid lets Pat play against the Texans, I'm taking away his hamburger privileges. Hey, ground him. Bar the doors at McDonald's. I don't know. I'm sure that they will err on the side of caution. The problem, honestly, is Mahomes. Because he's going to be telling you, I'm fine, I'm playing. I'm not asking you, coach, I'm playing. That's what he's going to be saying tomorrow.
That's the problem. Because Patrick's done it before. He's played on ankles that have high ankle sprains, and we've seen that happen. It's sometimes you have to protect the player from themselves. And I know that, like you said, he wanted to come back in the game. He was like, I'm fine. Let me come back in the game. 2 games in 5 days, okay? Sometimes you have to protect the player from themselves. If Patrick goes into this game against the Texans, who have like 42 sacks on the year, and gets hit 15 times, sacked 4 times, and guess what? Oh, his ankle's worse after that, and they lose the game. Let's just say that. Let's say they lose. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, are you going to play on Christmas Day? You're going to play against that pass rush there? I don't think so. So that's why I'm like, well, if Carson starts this game and they lose, you can say, hey, how you feeling, Patrick? You good to go on Christmas Day? Yeah, I'm good to go. I like the chances better in that situation, personally. Okay. I understand Pat's gonna want to play. I get it. I totally get it. That's just not what I would do.
Yeah, I am with you. And Aaron, thank you for the question. Thank you for being here and the support. Red, thank you. We had a very interesting weekend, successful in a lot of ways, but we traveled a lot. We were on both ends of our little mountain state, and we're all pretty wore out. So thank you for asking, and the family appreciates you. And we appreciate Dan holding down the fort and taking care of business, as he always does. Appreciate you guys putting us over an hour with your quality questions. Thank you very much. And we're going to be excited. Now, I'm going to continue my replay. You might get a little film out of me tomorrow. Definitely some of my thoughts and takeaways. So tomorrow's the breakdown from me. Wednesday's a film room from Dan. Then you get all of our normal stat-based stuff from Gary. And Gary's been on a roll lately. He's talking it. Like, he's telling you what he thinks. Don't miss Gary on Thursdays. And then we're going to break it down for you Friday for the ball game and the prep in the game plan. Now, next week, everything's going to go haywire. We're still going to be here for you. You're going to get stuff. It ain't going to be on the normal schedule, but we will get you prepared from the time they play the Texans, from the time that they play the Steelers. So get ready for Christmas. I'm going to say Merry Christmas now because I might forget later because we're going to be busy.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy time. I don't know how it's going to work, guys, but we'll be here for you. We'll have your content and promise that will not fall through just because of the crazy schedule. The NFL clearly doesn't care about player safety, even though that's all they say they care about.
Yeah. Don't listen to him. Just stop listening. It makes things so much better. It's beautiful. Anyway, that's it for us tonight. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Dan the next day. Have a great one. Thanks for being with us. We appreciate you all, and we will talk to you tomorrow.